It's 5:31 your time, 6:31 my time. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Paula, could you take roll call?
Certainly. Mark Miller.
Present.
Chris Carlson.
Here.
Paula Crook, we're all present.
I'd like to make a motion to approve last month's minute.
Motion.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chris, could you go over the financials?
I will. All right. So we started the month with 509,856.04. We received receipts of 46,672.57. For a total of 556,528.61. Our disbursements for the month were 117,677.38 for a monthly balance of 438,851.23 to end last month. All our expenses, basically, we're finishing up existing road contracts, payroll, and then our end of the year or our bond payment for the property of the state of Kansas. Does the board have any questions on financials?
No.
I don't.
Motion to approve the budget.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mark.
Chris, can you go over the road assessor's report, please?
So road assessor's report, we're just finishing up projects that were already budgeted for the year. I think the last project we have is Crest Ridge Mill and Overlay. And then we're already taking in all the projects for this year, we're taking all the projects for 2025 and assessing budgets and seeing what we can afford to do. So, but everything's completing right now, so there's not a lot going on the roads other than that one.
Okay.
Your move, Mark.
No other road assessor's report then?
No, nothing else.
Okay. Is John and Paul around?
Paul is, John is not.
I didn't know. Does Paul have anything to discuss on what's been going out there? It's been a minute since I've talked to you guys anyways, so.
No, he's shaking his head no.
Regular every day.
All right. I'm assuming mowing's slowing down. Maintenance is probably picking up and getting ready for snow season sometime in the near future.
That is correct.
Not in the near future here. Maybe where you're at, but not where we're at.
We'll see. All right. Paula or Chris, do you have any old business?
No, I do not.
I do not at this time.
Okay. New business.
Yes, I have new business. So, we received a notice from Sedgwick County Clerk's Office last week, and basically lets us know that our October 31st tax distribution, there was a refund processed that will be affecting our distribution. You will not be receiving any ad valorem taxes this time due to the refund by a court of tax appeals. Your taxing authority did not have enough taxes collected to cover the refund that was processed. You should be receiving more funds for the ad valorem taxes in January 2025. This is similar to what happened to us last year when the county gives us a budget and then they don't collect our budget, but they tell us we have to spend our budget. So reading this, that also tells me if we didn't have enough taxes, and it must have been a pretty significant refund, because we would have a distribution in October and one in December, and we're not getting either one of them, and they're not going to distribute until 25. So until I get paperwork on what this distribution was, if the projects were not already under contract, there will be no new projects to finish this year out, because we don't know how much money we're going to have to finish the year. So, but that's my new business.
Okay. And Paula, no new business?
Nothing, Mark.
And then, Mark, there are two gentlemen here for questions after the formal meeting is closed.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, we'll definitely discuss this when we adjourn the meeting. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening, gentlemen. I hear that you are from Villas 2.
No, Villa's one.
Villas 1.
Oh, we knew it was the Villas.
You're close.
But not the same.
I actually,
That's
I'm actually in Crest Ridge.
Right.
He's in Villas.
Oh, no, your road's getting done before the end of the year.
Right. But anyway, do you want to start with the question? Okay. Anyway, I'm looking at their insurance. I'm an insurance agent, and their question they brought to me was they don't know the wall out there, the brick fascia wall. I guess Minnehaha constructed it. Is that correct?
I don't know. I don't know if Minnehaha. Now, we constructed the one on Central
Correct.
that faces St. Cloud and goes all the way down. We constructed that wall. 100% we constructed that wall.
Okay, so
If it's
guess-
on the township,
go ahead.
if it's on the township easement, most likely we constructed it, we take care of it, and we are insured for those walls.
Okay, so should we assume that? Should the association assume? Because I
So-
think it is in the easement.
So here's the problem with Villas 1 and Villas 2. It kind of comes down to where the property line is, because they are deemed private property.
Right.
And the wall could be in it or could not be in it. And I don't know the boundary. I mean, I can look up roughly how far it is from the center of the road, but I don't have an exact. We have to know the property boundary.
And I'm going to call, Chris, I'm going to call Tanya, because I know that you had mentioned this a couple weeks ago.
Uh,
Tanya's the insurance agent. I had an adjuster.
John and Paul mentioned it a few weeks ago.
Okay. I know John and Paul probably met up with the underwriter, because I had questions on how much wall that we were actually paying for via the insurance. And Paul, do you remember off the top of your head, were you part of that conversation? Did you drive around with the underwriter with John?
No, I think John went with him.
Say that
I
again?
think John went with him.
It was just John.
Just John? All right. So I need to get a hold of John to see if he can remember if that wall was included. And if that wall was not included, then I need to talk to the underwriter to figure out if that is within our boundaries, just to make sure that it is insured.
Yeah, if it's in Minnehaha property, it's ours. But see, there's a gray area on 127th. We executed, when was that? 2020, 2019?
With the
The
sale
maintenance
of-
agreement on that. So there's a maintenance agreement in
20th.
place from 2020 that was signed between City of Wichita, Sedgwick County, and Minnehaha Township to maintain 127th between Central and 13th. After the construction was done. The reason this was done is because when the city has a piece of property, they have to annex the road that goes with it. And of course, the road is in Minnehaha Township, but the right-of-ways on the ditches and all that are in the county or they're in Minnehaha, one of the two. So they execute an agreement, and we paid a third, the county paid a third, and then the city takes care of all maintenance on the road for 10 years. Ditches, mowing, everything that goes up along there. So even if something happened to the wall today, the maintenance agreement with the city says the city maintains that area.
Even if it's on Villa's one.
If it's on Villas 1 property, it would not. But if it was on our property, it would be actually maintenance by the city because we paid them $450,000 to do it.
They would be insuring it and maintaining
For the bigger part of it, yeah.
it. Okay.
But if it's on Villa's property, if the property line is on the outside face of that wall, then the Villas would be responsible for the wall.
And some of that, because you have the wall going north-south, and then there's a part of it that jets into the east.
Yeah.
So some of it could be
If
in
it,
the Villa's property, and some of it could be Minnehaha.
theoretically, it could be somewhere. So the road, so 127th, so like we're limited to the roads that we cover. There's a map after this I can show you. There's a map on the wall in the office there that the county sends us every single year. It tells us what streets we are to maintain, which means we maintain the streets and then the ditches and the public area around them. And we don't have very many roads anymore between the city and the county, especially over this area. So anything that's been annexed, but of course, like I said, Villas is private, so there's a whole nother conundrum going on with Villas 1 and Villas 2 being private. So it just depends on the property line.
And the reason why I had the underwriter come out and visit with me, Chris, and go around the community with John is because we actually are insured for $250,000 worth of wall, but we never really had a general idea of what walls that was, because it's broken down inside the spreadsheet of like 4 different sections. But they don't specify anything. So I'm hoping that John can help clarify what those sections of walls are, and then I'll be able to get an answer back. So I definitely need, your guys' contact information so I can get back with you and follow up on this.
I think Paula has it. She could probably email it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you going to be able to find out, because you don't know for sure if you constructed the wall, right?
I mean, it was, how long has that wall been there on that in
Long time, but
2027?
I think we did it. I think the township did it.
Did they?
I think the
I
township
wouldn't
did it.
know. I
But
came on the
then-
board in 2018 and we don't have a lot of good records back
If
then.
the township did it, then they should have a survey, right? Before they put the wall up? No?
There should there have been survey? 100%. Do we have it? No, we don't.
Okay.
Might be in the stuff I brought you, or still at the house.
We have to know what year it was.
Yeah.
I know.
And Chris, as
There's
long as you
survey
know
on it.
exactly which wall area we're talking about, I can use that information and follow up with you.
Okay. Because that's the thing we need is I don't know what year. I mean, if it was before 2018, I don't have any clue.
No, but I don't think it's quite that old. Because when I first got my place.
It's not that old, but it could be 7 years late.
It's, I'll guarantee it's older than 18. It was there before I was here. I know that. Yeah, the wall. Yeah, both. Yeah, I know it wasn't there then.
That could be.
I mean, the wall on Central was 20.
See, 'cause I don't know why
12,
they did the wall in the
2013.
first place. That was a hedgerow, it was a bunch of trees, and for whatever reason, they removed the trees and put the wall up. Was that because of the street?
Because
sounds
the
like a Don
residents
thing.
wanted it. I live in the villas.
Oh, you're in the villas.
I live in Villas 1.
Oh, you do?
The residents at the time,
Wanted it.
Julie Mitchell
Yeah.
in particular, thought that
Okay.
would increase our property value if we
I always
had,
wondered why.
and decrease the noise from the roads. That's why that wall is there.
Oh.
But it had to do with the residents wanting the wall.
Okay.
So,
That's why
I like the wall.
do we know if it was before or after Central? Because Central
It
was
was after,
2012,
it was after
2013.
Central, because that's one thing I think that prompted it
So after Central, but before the building,
before.
before this building. Because
Oh,
this
gosh,
was
you're-
17.
You're pressing me there, I don't know.
So, I mean, that narrows the window. So that means we need
Yeah.
the records from 2012 to 2017. And then we can look through it and see if there's a survey in there.
Sure. I have surveys separate from everything.
Oh, do you? Oh,
It's not in with my minutes.
that's awesome. Well,
I mean, besides the point of who built the wall, are there any qualms in us being able, if it's not on the Menahaw spreadsheet for the allocated wall area, do we have any problems with just adding that to the insurance policy?
well, if it's a Minnehaha, if it's Minnehaha property, it needs to be insured.
Sure.
I don't argue with that at all.
That's what I'm.
I only argue if we're insuring property that's on private land. That's the rub for me. If it's on private land, we get in trouble for spending public funds on private money or on private
And
land. So,
if Paula seems to think that we built it, then most likely it is already insured. And so I just need to follow up with that.
well, if there was a tree line and somebody decided to put a wall, it definitely sounds like something Don would have done. He had a
Right.
history of that.
Yeah, there was a tree line,
There was a tree line on Central too.
but it didn't do what the residents wanted it to do. Or some other residents wanted it to do.
So I think that's what we have to figure out.
Yeah.
So Paula says she has the survey separate, so if we can get the surveys, if she's got one of that, we can find out which side of the property line was built on.
I mean, they just brought it to me and just really wanted to know, because of like, car goes crashing through there, which is totally possible. Who's going to fix it?
I want to see a car get out of that ditch if it comes across.
I've just seen some weird things where, how did you
I mean,
get that?
if you had enough speed, I think you might be able to get across
Well,
there.
they go, I hear them dragging down the street at night. They have the speed.
Those are golf carts or the carts?
Yeah.
Cars nowadays are plastic. It's full
Those
of-
cars go down there 100 miles an hour at night. I mean, it's,
So yeah, I think the ultimate, we need to get a survey, find out which side it was built. So the wall on Central was built on the outside of the property line because our property backs right up. I mean, the St. Cloud property goes right to the back of the wall. And then when you get farther down by St. Andrews, then we have a 15-foot easement on both sides, on the inside of the wall.
that's
So
not central though.
yeah, on Central. I'm just telling, that's what I know about that wall, and it was built before villas. So depending on where they built the villas and how they did it, I mean, Mark, I'm gonna turn you around.
Okay,
You're gonna look at me for a second.
great.
I thought you'd like that. So Via Verde Drive, is that the main road into villas too?
Into two.
Yeah, and then it tees off to go to north, right?
Yes.
So, right here on the mobile tax records, from south of Via Verde Drive, there is an easement that is called the Crest Ridge Homeowner. It's owned by the Crest Ridge Homeowner Association, but that's the wall that goes all the way to the entrance. That's owned by Crest Ridge. So let's see here. See, there's a vacated easement here. But your vacated easement, it ends at the front of the wall of Crest Ridge. It lines up perfect with that. So it just depends if your wall is lined up even with Crest Ridge or if it's just a little bit staggered. Because if it's lined up even with Crest Ridge, it looks like it's inside the villas in Reserve A.
I don't think it is.
If it's staggered out, then it would be a Minnehaha property. But when I click in this easement, it just says owner is Villas Homeowners Association, 400 North Woodlawn, Wichita, Kansas, 672084333. And that lines that entire piece. If you guys like to see, that's what Sedgwick County has on record. But that doesn't show the wall, so I don't know where the wall is compared to that. If it's inside, if it looks like it lines up with Crest Ridge's property, if those walls are even, then the wall is inside of villas.
I took a picture of it in case you guys want to see it. It's not, it's barely not good enough to show if they're lined up.
And I go in and out every day, but I've never paid
It's
attention.
close.
that.
I know it's
Never-
I
close.
think it will, I just gotta
is close, but I
figure it
just
out.
never looked at
It's,
that.
I got up on mine.
I guess I could go to Google Earth and see if it's on there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can figure out where my layers are for
Sorry.
That next one.
this one.
Yep. And go right this one. This is current. It's kind of neat. You can go all the way back to 06.
Okay, look at that. Paul just
Slick.
taught me something. I love it.
Yeah, because now when you zoom in, you can actually kind of see your sky picture. Now click off it onto something else, or like on the road, that'll go away. There.
Yeah, I'm not. Oops.
See, that's the ditch where the dark is.
It
It's
looks,
right
it
on
looks
it.
like looks like the property line runs down the center of the wall. Like they, yeah. I zoomed in, so I don't know if you're gonna, I can zoom back out.
If you go, the earlier picture was.
Yeah, I'm
On your
not,
computer phone, just go
Google Earth
to Sedgwick County
images,
GIS, and you can do the same thing. So we do it all the time.
What is it?
I can just, let me see if I can just turn this back off.
What were you saying about, the imaging of Sedgwick County GIS?
Right, or it's like mobile land records for Sedgwick
Yeah,
County.
mobile land records is what you go
Is
to.
that showing the wall?
Yeah, there was a wall right there.
So,
The
So come
lines
back here.
here you go. There's what you saw before.
Is it lined up to that wall?
But when you look at the
That
Google
one's
image,
on in.
Yeah, so
Now-
that's what I thought.
so when you look
There's
at
it staggered
the,
out
at the
from
Google
Crestridge.
map, it's the line. It's hard to tell because the line has to show
Now-
up, so it looks like it's going down the center of the wall.
Also, a
So I
guy
don't
told
know.
me,
Now-
from Sedgwick County, he says, don't take this verbatim because it's a satellite image. And
Right.
it could be 2 feet off, 3 feet off, depends on where the
Now,
satellite
with this
is.
satellite image going off your first theory, you can see their wall is staggered outside of the Crest Ridge wall.
Well, but I mean, I'm looking at it right here.
Even this one here,
I
that
mean,
it's outlined.
here's the thing: if it's in our property, we'll insure it. We have no problem with that at all. But what I'm saying is you look at this; it looks like the line's running right down the wall.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
So it looks like it's dead
Yeah,
center,
that's
on
right,
it,
yeah.
like they straddled the property. So that turns around, and makes another gray area there.
There you go.
Because if it's on Villa's property, we can't insure it. Because that's
Right.
private funds it's public funds for private use, and we can't do that.
So we
So
have Sedgwick County come out and
just have to have
But they
have
can
somebody
survey
shoot. It's usually I can have Sedgwick County survey for nothing.
right, yeah, they do that for us.
For us, they will. They won't do it for you. They'll do it for us. If we have a question on a boundary, they'll come out because
How
we're a
long would
township.
it usually, once you put that request in for them? would
Pretty
that take-
quick. Week, 2 weeks, not less.
Wow.
Kind of depends how busy. There's only 2 guys that do it. They've been doing it a long time and, yeah, they're really good.
You
I
got
mean,
you
it
got the
doesn't-
number to call?
Yeah.
Would you call them tomorrow and see if
I'll get
we-
scheduled.
It doesn't
get
really
scheduled.
matter, but your.
You wanna do the whole thing
your
all the way to
Insurance renews
Just-
21st.
No, I mean, there's no question on the south end, so it's just
Yes.
from that street, from
I
the
was
entrance to
hoping
Villas 1 and Villas 2,
Figure
from
this
there
out
north.
For the renewal,
Okay.
but it
That's
does.
all
Hey,
we
I'm
need.
going to just go ahead
It'd
and
be
do
nice
that.
to do that.
Rest of it, or?
Yeah, cause then I can just throw the wall on there.
I mean, you can, but I don't think it matters, because there's an easement
At
built in for the
renewal,
wall
I
on
can
the
throw the
south
wall
side.
on the,
So,
insurance policy if it is on your side.
Right. Which is good.
But it doesn't matter, I mean, even if it happens after renewal, I mean, it's no big deal.
I mean, well, Paul said he'll call tomorrow and see if he can get the
I'll get
schedule out
set
here.
up.
Goodbye.